Welcome back to another edition of Zero Block 30. I am your red-faced host, Chaps. If you're looking at YouTube, you can see that I look like I am sunburned, but I'm not. I'm going to take my shirt off later in the show so that you guys can see that I'm not sunburned, because I don't want to be accused of doing destruction of government property. Like I didn't consider safety to be paramount when I was in the pool. You guys know safety is always paramount with me, especially when it comes to sunscreen. I don't goof with that.
That's true. You take that very seriously.
I do. Not as seriously as that one time that we went on. I forget what the ad read was, but we went somewhere to like a field in New York and we're playing softball, and all of the Barstool content people forgot sunscreen. And MB, who is like our go-between, and now she's has a much higher position in the company. But at that point, she was like the go-between between big companies and then the content people. And she's like, I don't have sunscreen for you guys. I'm not your fucking mom.
Yeah, everyone kept going up to her and being like, MB, do you have sunscreen for us? Mom.
She was probably like, no, I don't have sunscreen for you fuckers. Go get your own sunscreen.
Yeah.
But then she brought out sunscreen like an hour later because she's the best. Anyways,
she probably went and got it. Yeah,
she
she's a good person with a white heart, but she has very little patience for, I think, a lot of people at Barstool, because a lot of people just are very annoying. Sorry.
True.
That's mean.
We have 5 rounds of the magazine today. Round number 1, we got some good initiative, bad judgment. A company decided to have its employees walk on coals at a party. 12 ambulances were involved. Round number 2, you all know we love science, but do we love science enough to start breathing out of our butts or into our butts? We're going to find out about that in round number 2. Round number 3, tactical toilets. They are a thing and they are glorious. Round number 4, China was supposed to do a joint training event with Russia. China backed out because Russia was trying to be too fetch and flashy. Not going to work. That's classic Russia, just trying to overstep. And finally, round number 5, a police officer in Wales who touched his colleague's penis and shouted, quote, "It's a small one," has been sacked.
That'll do it. That'll probably do it.
Well, it wouldn't have done it, I would say, in like early 2000s Marine Corps. I don't think that you would be fired for that. I think it was encouraged.
No, you could credit card swipe your buddy going up the stairs.
Yeah.
Credit card swipe. Credit card.
There's so many things that happened in,
Oil
I
check.
would say, from 1995 to 2005, that if they happened now, it would be a travesty.
It would. Certainly would.
I was just talking the other day how many movies wouldn't get made right now.
Oh, dude, so many. Mrs. Doubtfire not getting made.
No shot. I think
No.
basically anything in Judd Apatow's catalog not getting made these days, just because of the jokes they would make in there.
Even Veep, dude. Like we're watching Veep, and now like having people, especially during Pride Month, people dropping hard F-bombs about gay folks. I was like, holy shit, dude, this show is not that old, and they were dropping hard F-bombs.
Hard
like,
F's,
wow.
man. Hard F's.
Surprising. Speaking of hard liquor is good. That's why we go with our friends at Whistle Pig. If you haven't tried it out, you're a fucking idiot. You're should try out with
dumb dummy face.
You're a dumb bitch.
You're
Sound the
stupid.
dumb bitch alarm.
Yo, wee.
There it is, Kate. Thank you. It's 100% rye. It captures 100% bold, spicy flavor profile. It's a bartender's dream. It's perfect for mixing cocktails. If you're anything like me, you're bringing them out that good whiskey when people comes over. That's exactly what this is. It's aged 6 years. It has a high of 96.56 proof. And if you're looking for a perfect cocktail to make, go with 2 ounces of Whistle Pig, 1/4 ounce of maple syrup with 3 dashes of butter, and a fresh orange peel for garnish. It's like a fancier little old fashioned with the maple little kick to it. You're going to love it.
Ooh.
Get your own bottle at whistlepigwhiskey.com or at a local store. Trust me on this one. It's 100% the good stuff. All right, let's get going with, first of all, we want to do a Father's Day recap. Nick,
Yes,
I want to talk
of
to you
course.
about Father's Day. Nick, you look like you are having a great Father's Day. Anytime you can share a little ice cream cone with your kid, you got to do it. How was your Father's Day, Nicholas?
So Father's Day was a little different this year. So my daughter woke up with like 102, like 0.5 fever. So she was a trooper though all day. We had plans to go to my brother's house in New Canaan, but those were, shut down basically. But we did make the best of it. We went to my in-laws. We ate like kings, which we always do there. The Nonas were present. But really, we just, kept it to ourselves because we just wanted to make sure the little lady was all right.
Yeah.
So yeah, just, Daddy had to
No relaxing for you. Just a very busy Father's Day, but
nope.
that's classic. Yeah.
I had to wait until like 3 o'clock to get my card.
Yeah.
So didn't get the card in the morning. Was really excited about that. Didn't happen, but we recovered. My wife gave it to me later in the day. That's all I really wanted. So Yeah, I mean, it was a, standard day. Daddy duty called and I had to answer. I was able to go to the gym in the morning and just effortlessly bang out strict pull-ups. Like,
there you go.
Yeah,
Nick sent out the video, put it up there, doing some good solid pull-ups. Cons has done it too. I figure I got it too. I just haven't come across a pull-up bar because I'm not going to a gym. But when I do come across a pull-up bar, I'll set my phone down and take those videos and do it. I actually have an idea. It's something that my wife did this year for Father's Day, and I think it's fantastic because once you start having kids that are my kids' age, like 17 and nearly 10 years old, most of the classic Father's Day gifts are done. Like you've gotten your fair share of oven mitts and like barbecue aprons.
My big one as a kid was the I would make a coupon book for like free hugs or sweeping the garage out,
Yeah, like you've had that kind of stuff, or like barbecue platters, like all that kind of shit. Annalise this year took McCartney to just a Walmart and gave McCartney a budget of money and was like, you can pick out whatever you want for your dad. Like look throughout the store and find things that you think your dad would really enjoy. And McCartney did it and crushed it, man. Like crushed it. I brought some of the stuff to show. It's almost like show and tell. We've been doing this on Podfathers, but check out my cookie jar.
Whoa.
I thought you already had that. No,
they knew that I had just gotten this, so they wanted to fill stuff up because it was empty when they came in here to play PlayStation with me the other day. Okay. So they were like, I don't want cookies down in your office because that can meet bugs, and you don't want to have bugs down in your office. Smart, very smart. So they got me some of my favorite candies, like Payday bars and Almond Joys. And then I love those. Those are my two favorite. They nailed it.
Boy.
It's not your Father's Day cake.
I love Almond Joys.
Fair enough.
Unbelievable.
It's old man candy.
They got me matching. So it's kind of a sneaky move by them. They had these shorts that had dinosaurs all over them. And there were some for adults and some for children. And they're the same ones. So Cardi got both of those so we could match.
I love matching, places. Man.
I do too. Nice. I like being a dad and matching with your kid is we're matching right now.
We really
store that barstoolsports.com.
Yeah, we're all wearing our merch. Look at us. And then they got me like another little t-shirt thing. It was great, and downloaded a game on Xbox for us to play later on that day, the new Ninja Turtle game. So it was a very fun Sunday. By the way, emergency round number 1. I wrote the sheet today and completely forgot about this story.
Yeah, you sent that link and I didn't see it anywhere on the sheet. So what's going on?
And that is not like me at all. I completely forgot. So emergency round number A is what we're going to start with. It's the title is, you're going to see why we have to talk about it. Paratroopers orgy video sees deployment canceled. An orgy video, folks. It says the new head of the British Army has canceled a parachute regiment's battalion's deployment to Bosnia and Kosovo following the release of a video seemingly showing paratroopers participating in an orgy at a military base.
Can I ask, were they in midair?
Hopefully.
Because then it's excusable.
Midair fucking, yeah.
Then awesome. It's cool. But if not.
And I feel like this is coming out more and more because of TikTok, like all the military people who are swingers with the pineapples and chiefs and like Navy bases, happens all the time. This guy, Lieutenant General Andrew Harrison, the Colonel Commandant of the paratroopers, wrote in a letter that General Sir Patrick Sanders had temporarily lost trust in the unit's 3rd Battalion. Quote, this afternoon, the Chief of the General Staff, General Sir Patrick Sanders, took the decision to remove the 3rd Paratroopers off the rosters to deploy to Kosovo this summer. 3rd Para has an extraordinary operational reputation in the service of our nation, and every member of it will be devastated by the lost opportunity to serve on operation once again in the Balkans. The decision was based on a recent disciplinary incident on the exercise Swift Response, the latter which has been public domain over the last few weeks. The paratroopers accept they have temporarily lost the trust of the general that's in charge, and they will reflect on whether the required behaviors adjusted gets them back on the deployment. But what they did, essentially, there was this video that was going out all over the place in Wales, and it was just people straight up fucking. And from what I understand, I went on Twitters and was finding the different people in this unit. It looked like a video from like Eyes Wide Shut is what happened.
What?
Yeah, like some people were wearing masks, some weren't.
Oh, they should have all been wearing masks. Rookie mistake. Let this be a lesson to you. If you are at an orgy, keep your mask on tight. Wear your baklava.
And I'm sorry, but maybe if you're at an event like that, put your phones in a basket. How about a no phones rule?
Phones in a basket.
And also, I don't want to know what my soldiers are doing in their private time, nor do I think I should know that.
And also, who gives a fuck? They're all adults. Like if you, unless there's a minor, unless there's somebody there against their will, who gives a shit? If you want to have a whole group of battalion that's just to get together and putting their D's and B's and each other's D's and B's and T's, whatever, dude. Like that's what you're doing. You're an adult. Cohesion. Fuck whoever you want to.
Yeah, different strokes, and you
many
just
different strokes.
You should just not be very. Yeah. You shouldn't be very nosy with your personal lives. I think that's where we fail in the military. We think because you're in command of somebody that you are in command of them entirely, to include when they're not at work.
My old saying was, nobody's commanding my holes.
That's exactly right, Kate.
I said that straight up to my officers. I said,
the general said, my message to our Army is clear. Our license to operate is founded on trust and confidence, and we must hold ourselves to the highest standard. He said that he was sorry and embarrassed and disgraced and condemned the video as disgraceful. What is that? Why is it disgraceful?
Again, because there's a video. I mean, I think the unit would be cooler if there was just rumors that this unit fucking fucks.
Well, then you got to go after the leak. The leak is disgraceful because I imagine if you're group fucking, there's some hard and fast rules. I would say that there's even a group fucking constitution that you have to sign on to, where you just say, listen, if we're all going to fuck in this group, nobody better say shit about it. And nobody better post a video on Twitter.
You get enough lube going around, there's going to be leaks. I'll tell you that much.
That's exactly right, Kate.
It's just irreplaceable. But I'll say I like the thought of some of our special forces people have to be a little bit of a wild card to do some of this shit. So do we think they're sitting at home reading the Bible on a Friday night? Exactly. I want my special forces out.
Correct.
With their dicks pulled back behind their butt cheeks
or labias,
over their shoulders. Thank you, or flaps.
Mm-hmm.
I want all kinds of crazy stuff.
This is a very pure case of ignorance is bliss. I don't need to know those things. I don't need to know the details.
Like to know a little bit.
No,
what
you're
if it's all like this whole thing is because the senior troops were being nicer to a little bit junior troops or somebody that doesn't have a relationship? You know, you're going to the Balkans, you're going to be super horny. Everybody else is like in a relationship. And then you got one hornball who's not doing anything. Like, look, bring them in. We're all going to fuck.
I think this is the case. I think this is the case.
Yeah, that's very kind.
Nice.
I think the leak came from somebody who wasn't invited.
I think the leak came because somebody had a leak a couple weeks after. They were doing a little bit of drip and need some penicillin.
Oh, one of those.
Possibly, but they weren't invited and they were salty about it. And they said, oh, you know what? If I can't go, nobody's going to go.
You can have an orgy, just not within your same unit because that could affect readiness.
And morale. Yeah.
If one strand of a particular strand of gonorrhea starts flying around a unit, the entire thing is fucked. And
everything's
an orgy, folks.
Do you know why they call it the clap?
No, why?
Because it was military troops from God, probably the Navy, fucking poured it up somewhere. Mm-hmm. But the one particular disease, if you clapped your penis and a bunch of stuff came out, that's how you knew you had a bunch of like pus or whatever came out of your dick hole when you clapped it. That's a fucked up way. Like how hard you got to clap.
Yeah. What
I think somebody else had to pull it out for you, and somebody else clapped.
Like you're sticking peanut butter in between your hands and trying to get it on the wall on the opposite side of the room.
Yeah.
Like, that's a hard slap.
That's what I heard. That's all I know.
Well, good luck to those paratroopers. Glad they got their dicks in, whatever else wet. But sorry, you can't go to the Balkans. That stinks, man. Like you've been trained to go to the Balkans, and they're like, you're not going to the Balkans. You're upset.
What if there's a bunch of what if they had already messaged the troops in the Balkans and they're like, get ready to fuck, and the Balkans troops were like, yes, and now
or the troops that are already there, like their relief is not coming because they were fucking too much.
Right. What a mess. Truly.
Truly.
Two big messes. One from the orgy. You gotta clean that sucker up.
Boy, is that an awful job.
Yeah, you gotta get the buffer out, do the whole fucking
get the PFCs in here.
Give me 2 lance corporals with a microfiber rag right jammed out.
Yeah, that's
hey there, kitchen gloves, come here.
Nobody likes that.
Finally, my kitchen gloves are worth Anyways, let's move on to round number 1.
Real quick, while we're on the topic of whenever, I got waxed last week.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
I thought I'd be able to wear a bathing suit scot-free. I can't. I broke out into the most horrible rash I have ever gotten after getting waxed. I looked down there and I screamed. I went, ah! I screamed. And then I was like, Pat, you got to come look at this. And now we're never having sex again.
Thanks.
Round number 1.
Wait, no. So that it is whenever you're doing some groin goofing and doing a little bit of cleaning up down there. If you get too close, like they don't teach you enough in school about with the grain against the grain when it's talking about shaving. Because I've shaved before. The first time I ever did it with a straight razor, I just did it with water as the lube. I didn't know you needed shaving cream. So I was just going down. The next day, it looked like I had ant bites like all over, just pussed up and gross.
Yep. It looks like I sat crisscross applesauce on a fire ant hill at Paris Island is what it looks like. It is the most horrific.
Good Lord.
My jaw dropped.
Can we move on? I'm actually making this.
Looks
is actually
like I
making me
spread my
uncomfortable.
flaps right over the top of an anthill.
Come on in, fellas.
Yeah.
There's plenty of goldfish crumbs in here.
What?
Like picnics, they like the goldfish crumbs. Hey,
number 1.
They pick them up and they walk them out. Like the old Disney thing.
No, we got it.
We understand. We understand. Round number 1, coming to us from the New York Times. Well, have either of you ever done a team building exercise like that's a little extra, like walking across hot coals or?
No, not doing hot coals, but I have experienced hotness before.
Okay, that's the same thing.
Yeah.
Walking barefoot across hot coals, an ancient religious ritual popularized in recent years as a corporate team building exercise, has once again bonded a group of coworkers through the shared suffering of burned feet. In the latest case of a stunt gone wrong, 25 employees of a Swiss ad agency were injured while walking over hot coals in Zurich, officials said.
Absolutely baffling that this happened with the Swiss, because you don't think they're doing this kind of stuff. You just think they're always very mature.
Yeah, you don't think this has America written all over it.
Oh yeah, this is fucking Jacksonville.
Absolutely. 10 ambulances, 2 emergency medical teams, and police officers from multiple agencies were deployed to help. 13 people were briefly hospitalized. We very much regret the incident, and we were doing everything we can to ensure that our employees get well again quickly, said Michi Frank, the chief executive. The company.
Can you imagine being this manager having to call your boss and being like, well,
team
you're
building
not going to believe what happened at the fire walking event.
Yeah. The sense that walking across burning coals requires a special inner state has motivated its transformation from a mystical spiritual tradition into a capitalist self-improvement project. The practice appears to have emerged separately thousands of years ago as a religious tradition in various practices around the world. In Greece, the tradition involved singing, dancing, and fire walking, commemorating the rescue of icons from a burning church. Seemingly unrelated traditions also exist in Bali, Fiji, India, and Japan. Why the spiritual failing? Was this a spiritual failing? Sorry, not likely. With proper instruction and preparation, experts say walking across hot coals is not as dangerous as it looks. They're telling you that it's all in your mind, that this will give you special powers that will continue. It's not your mind. Anybody can do it. And I don't think the confidence you get from it is going to last that long.
I agree with this because I have done fire goofing in some settings, like at church camp. Like whenever there was a time, I think I was in like 10th or 11th grade, and we were doing s'mores outside. Mm-hmm. And whenever you're at church camp, Kate knows, I don't know if you did any church camp growing up, but the church camp, you're always kind of sitting around a fire. Somebody has to impress other people. You're in mixed company. Right. You get a South Carolina squeezer.
You might be in the pine trees honking somebody off.
It's going to happen. Exactly right, Kate. So I had this flaming marshmallow, and I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to show off in front of all these bitches, and I'm going to drop this thing down the old gullet like it's a sword.
What a dummy.
Stupid.
What a dummy you are.
Burning marshmallows.
And I go, and I put my mouth over it to extinguish the flame. And I had done it probably like 15 times at this point. Well, this one, it was too much on fire. And I felt it like, that noise whenever you put a match in water, it's like, tss.
Yes.
As soon as it hit the palate of my mouth, it was like tss, from the top. The next morning I came out And like I kept going, you have cigar taste if you have something burnt in your mouth the next morning.
Yeah.
I was like moving my tongue on top of my mouth like that, like I had peanut butter up there. And I grab and I pull off like 3 layers of skin and it's all like gray and shit. And I'm just like, oh my God. And one of the counselors there was a nurse and she was like, yeah, you burned off all the palate of your mouth. It's going to take you like 6 months to get that back.
And
Dude,
the
you're lucky
chicks
you have
here are
taste to
totally
this
going to
day.
dig that.
I know. But I was like, worth it. They thought I was hardcore out there at the old church.
Could anybody put their tongue in here to see what's going on up there?
Maybe just tickle it just a little bit.
With your tongue,
not,
just to help
not
me
you,
out,
not
just-
the ugly one.
I
You.
have a question. How do you do this though? How do you walk across these coals without burning the bottoms of your feet? Do
We're
either of
about
you
to
know?
find out.
We're
Here
about
we
to
go.
find. I'm so glad you asked that. Mr. Willie said that the coals, this is the expert that's talking about it, that the coals at 1,000 degrees are safe to walk on for 20 feet or more, adding that he's walked on coals that are that temperature for 495 feet without getting a blister.
And these employees actually call him Big Willie, and he was getting jiggy with it.
He
on
certainly
the calls,
was. On his website, he writes that at a brisk walk, your bare feet come into contact with coals for just like about 1 second. And that's not enough time for heat to be transmitted from coals to human flesh. But coals and skin have vastly lower thermal conductivity than, for instance, metal. Metal, the second you're even close to it, you're going to get fucking burned.
Mhm.
The organizer of the event in Zurich, Tommy Widmer, said in an interview that he had warned participants not to stroll, run, or hop across the fire, but to walk across it in a steady, quick military step-like clip. Mr. Widmer said that he felt sorry for anyone who got hurt, but denied responsibility for the accident. It could have been a great event, he said. That's brilliant. He's just straight up blaming them.
And
So
one of the other things that they said that they did was gave him a little bit of a safety brief, which I appreciate. They said that you can't curl your toes. There's no walking on coals that are too hot. You can't choose the wrong type of wood. And whenever you're doing it on a beach, your feet might sink in the sand and that can make the contact happen a little bit more. So we don't do it on the beach. We got to do it on concrete.
Yeah, it sounds like whatever the coals were on, if I had to guess, it sounds like people maybe started panicking and then everybody's feet were dipping down into it. Like, it sounds like, that would be my guess.
I don't understand how for a company that this is worth the reward. Like the risk here is worth the reward.
So a couple things, I think Nick can appreciate this too. Like in the corporate world, like people are always looking for some sort of advantage. That's why there's this whole industry of
that's why there's those
military
camps that we talked about a couple
Right.
weeks
Yeah,
ago.
those
Going to
camps
man
or
camp, right.
or more former military having speaking engagements all over because they think it'll translate and it will make their marketing team somehow the best marketing team in the world. And I just don't think, while there are some principles from the military, or I may be walking across hot coals that transfer, I don't think it's a direct 1-for-1. And I think this speaks to a bigger problem in corporate America. So in the military, you get promoted mostly on merit and you won't get put in a position of leadership unless you can probably handle that position. And obviously sometimes we get people in leadership positions who might not be the best
of the
fit.
time.
95% of the time, if you're in a leadership position, especially the higher up you go, you should be there. In corporate America, basically, like, you can get promoted and be good at your job, and then you get put in these managerial positions when you have no business managing someone. So it's like Joe's really good at his spreadsheets. Oh, okay, let's put him in charge of 10 other people. And honestly, they don't have that skill set because they never learned it anywhere along the way. So they think like, oh, you know what we should do? Let's bring in the coal people, because if our team walks across hot coals, then we'll be very good at our jobs. And it's a misunderstood cultural appropriation, I think, that doesn't always work.
And these companies, they look at people like Private William T. Santiago, who maybe he couldn't run very fast, but he probably could have been a great leader, even though he couldn't do the things, but he couldn't run very fast. So he won't ever get that chance. Sad to see.
Yeah.
I'll say
As
this
we
too,
know.
like the confidence course at boot camp where you have to climb way high up and go on the ropes, like that was kind of fun, but I didn't walk away from it being like, I'm a new person now. I fucking dated across this confidence course. Like, it wasn't something that stuck with me that made me feel any different about, like, I don't know. I don't think, like he said, like this stuff doesn't truly stick with you for very long. Like,
Kate, you weren't in the mountains of Afghanistan, getting shot at and thinking, you know what? I was motivated by that time I walked across that balance beam. I'll get through this because I can get through
that
that.
tire swing I made it across that puddle on really got me ready for this. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Speaking of making it through that puddle, you should go with our friends at Roman because they have swipes that are make it easier to last longer in bed. They're consistent and easy to use. You just take them out of the pocket and you swipe it on the old member, and it gives you a 340% increase of the time that you'll be able to do it. Some people going from 3 minutes to 5.5 minutes. You don't want to go any more than that, folks. These folks that are out here fucking for 15, 20 minutes, that shit's for the Cardinals. You don't want to do that.
Especially if your lady's got shaving rash.
Oh, yeah. You don't want that.
Can't have too much friction at the time.
No, but you next thing you know, you'll have coals all over the bed. It'll be like walking on fire. Unbelievable. Go to GetRoman.com/CBT to get your first month of swipes for just $5 when you choose a monthly plan. That's GetRoman.com/CBT, or just use the link in our YouTube description, which is that just search on YouTube for 0Block30. It's going to come right up there. All right, let's move on to round number 2. But before we do that, I want you guys, because I watched this video of Miles Teller again this weekend, and this is about breathing. So I want to see, Cons, we'll start with you. Your best impersonation of what it would be like going into the G machine and they get you up to 5 Gs. Do you remember how they breathe? Yeah.
I got a weird neck in this lighting. It's not.
Wait,
my neck.
he's doing it.
Like...
Let him do it.
Oh.
That's pretty good. All right, the G's are going up. No, you were only at like 2 G's there. All right, now you got to really take some deep gasping breaths. That's pretty good. Kate, let's try with you. We'll start out I'll give you the G's, and then as we go up,
okay,
you adjust. Okay.
So long as Nick makes a social clip, it's just Cons doing that on loop.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Here we go. Kate, G level 1, go. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, you look like you just play with Cash's cheeks. Oh, you're so cute. You're so
G3.
cute.
You're at 3.
Now we're pretending I'm just me going in and I'm not fit.
5. The one where he does it.
Huh?
The one where he does it and he's sitting there when they're like, make believe that you're doing it. Because they asked him, were you actually in the G machine? And he was like, no, we were just making it up a majority of the time. We got to do it, but a majority of the time we were just making it up. So he was like, they said, well, do it. And he's sitting there in this interview and he goes, and he's like going through it. It looks exactly like he does on the movie. And I'm like, that's why these motherfuckers get the big bucks, because they do that shit. Like the way that he was distorting his face with like nothing on it at all, it was making it look like his eyes were all droopy and shit. I was like, how is he doing this? It's unbelievable.
Oh, he looks like me every day. Just
the body is capable of doing incredible things. One of which might be breathing from our butts. Kate, what do we got here?
Whoa. Well, don't we kind of do that? I guess it's not breathing, it's farting. Despite being among the creepiest of your internal
air
organs,
just going all our holes.
That's half a breath, I would say. The exhale.
And some ladies can suck air into their and do a queef.
Talking about pussy?
Despite being among the creepiest of your internal organs, your intestines play a crucial role in your everyday life, taking up nutrients from the food you can't eat and ridding your body of waste. But their job ends at your end. They cannot, for instance, help you breathe. Right? Getting the oxygen needed for survival is achieved through various processes. Insects gather oxygen through holes in their bodies known as spiracles. Some vertebrate animals can breathe air through their butts. Sort of. In the winter, turtles slow their metabolism and get most of their oxygen through their cloaca. Which
is the combo of your dick and your butt, for those keeping score at home.
Yeah, it's a process known as cloacal respiration. Other reptiles and amphibians use similar techniques to breathe without using their lungs. If you happen to be a mammal, however, it's long believed that if your lungs are out of commission, then you're out of luck, at least until recently.
I have to admit, I only clicked on this because of the title of it, but this study that they did is legitimately fascinating. It's fascinating.
We've long known that intestines could take up chemical components and deliver them to the rest of the body. That's why that big trend of teens taking alcohol bungs up their assholes,
Or
and
coffee enemas.
they would immediately, but coffee enemas and alcohol enemas, and the effects hit you immediately because your intestines are so efficient at spreading that shit throughout your body really quickly. Anyways, that's one of the ways your gut microbiome communicates with your brain.
Can you bong your ass?
Yes, of course. Yes. What?
Like let's say our friend and longtime stoolie Riley Reed does like a anal gaping video, for instance, and you take a long bong hit in, hold it in for a while, go up straight to her butthole like it's a sploof, and pour in all the smoke into her butthole. Would she get high?
That's a genuinely good question. That's a good question. If you're listening and I'm sure that's a thing on the internet. I'm sure that's been done.
With the amount of doctors and smart people that listen to this show too, that constantly email me and tell me how wrong I am about stuff when I talk about science, somebody's going to let us know if you can get high in your ass.
I do. I would like to know. I'd like to know. It seems like a gentle way. It doesn't hurt your throat.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but it's unclear if the same processes could be used to get oxygen into the bloodstream. To test this hypothesis, scientists created a scenario in which pigs and mice in a laboratory were deprived of normal respiration and ventilated via the intestines. So sorry to those animals. To improve the likelihood of oxygen uptake, some animals had their intestines scrubbed in order to thin the mucus lining and reduce the barrier to the bloodstream.
So for what I understand, it's like repeated enemas to get everything out. So basically their intestinal walls are completely empty of any like fecal matter or anything like that. It's as clean as absolutely possible.
Yeah. So the animals who were deprived of air and got no intestinal ventilation died after about 11 minutes. Animals who received intestinal ventilation without the scrubbing, almost twice as long. Animals who received the ventilation lasted about 18 minutes. So if they weren't getting air up their butts, 11 minutes. If they were getting air up their butts, 18 minutes. Lastly, 75% of those animals who had been scrubbed received pressurized oxygen into the rectum. They survived for an hour, the total length of the experiment.
That proves you can breathe through your butt. Like you can
through your butt. I'd like to think they were all super drugged and just didn't know that was happening. My God.
Yeah. But I mean, horrific. To go from 11 minutes to over an hour, that's a significant increase.
But okay, that's interesting and all, but what the fuck are we going to do with that?
That's my question was going to be
space travel.
Oh, all right.
If you're going up and you need to talk, I mean, it'd be so much easier if somebody just had like a tank and like a scuba chute that they stick straight up your butthole and you walk around Mars having the time of your life.
I would love to bounce around the moon. I'm not doing it if there's an air tube up my butthole. I'm not.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, right, Kate. If I gave you the opportunity and I'm like, you, me, Johnny Hopkins, Sloan Kettering, and fucking Buzz Aldrin are going to the moon. All you got to do is have a scuba chute up your butthole. You would be on that ship in a heartbeat wearing your little cherry travel socks.
I'll say that if Buzz Aldrin put something up his butt to go to the moon, then I would do it, but not for anyone else.
You have to. They have something up their dicks.
They have catheters?
Yeah.
Shut up. No, they don't.
I don't think they do.
No, they don't.
Maybe, I don't know. That wow.
I don't think they do, buddy.
If you're going if you are at like G6, I bet that affects your cock too.
Sure, it does. I'm sure it affects every part of you. I bet your balls go.
Yeah.
I bet your balls are doing the same thing down there, but they're upside down.
This feels to me very much.
Balls just struggling to breathe. Your balls like, I need a Heimlich maneuver.
Yeah. Your dick's like, here we go, boy.
Oh, here we go again. This whole thing.
You two are ridiculous.
Danger zone.
Anyway, this is like the great Dr. Ian Malcolm once said, people were so busy worrying about if they could do this, they didn't think, should they do this? And I think that's what we got going on here, because I don't know that this is necessarily going to benefit anybody.
Oh, I think they can figure it out. I think this is the first step. It might not be the last step, but it is definitely the first step.
Well, the why of it, this is a dumb question after COVID. If a respiratory disease knocks us out and our lungs aren't working anymore, in the future, they might be able to keep us going with our buttholes.
Okay.
That'd be fucking, it legitimately would be baffling. If you walked into a grocery store and somebody's walking with like a walker with
The oxygen tank.
the tennis balls on the bottom so they don't slip. And you see a hose going straight up
Just
their
up
butt.
their shorts.
You're like, damn, your breath stinks. Well, you're not going to believe where I'm exhaling from.
Yeah. That's interesting.
It
It's
is.
interesting.
Very interesting. Speaking of interesting, there's a fucking tactical toilet, right, Kate?
Well, anything can be a tactical toilet if you're brave enough.
True.
And if you're desperate enough or drunk
Mhm.
enough.
So this thing, before Kate starts telling you what this tactical toilet is, I want to describe a little bit what it looks like. It looks like a piece of shit. Like it looks like just two green boxes, and legitimately on the back of this trailer that they have, it looks like a 3M garbage like dumpster.
It looks
Is
like a
essentially
porta
all it
potty.
is.
It looks like a porta potty on a trailer. How
With
are
the
they-
dumpster on the
But-
back.
Let's be honest. This picture looks cool as hell.
It does. Like I don't know
Yeah.
where that tactical potty's
For
going.
those who can't see, it's a Humvee speeding down. The camera's blurry. It's a Humvee speeding down through the like forest or wherever, and then there's all this dust
And
flying
it's going
up.
fast. Like
It's
the
going
grass is
fast as
pixelated. It's
fuck.
moving so fast. Like
They just
Too
heard
Fast,
that
Too
they just
Furious,
got
the
word that the
diarrhea
general
edition.
has to take a shit, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Fuck."
on my way, sir. We're on our way.
Yeah,
Why didn't they call it the tactipotty?
I don't know. It's really silly that they didn't.
Mm.
All right, well,
Mhm.
let's get into the actual story. What do we got here, Kate?
All right, there's a dirty side to the military. Literally, troops are human and they need toilets now and then. Portable
Nice to be
toilets-
reminded of that.
It is. Thank you. Portable toilets are commonly used in the military and training and overseas. They're even affectionately known among the armed forces as porta shitters.
True.
Everyone has their own memories of the simple, straightforward porta shitters, namely masturbating inside them in very hot
Mhm.
weather.
Mhm.
That's our walking on coals. If you can get off in one of those things in 120-degree heat, you could do anything.
True.
Anyways, they're usually covered in art, great dick drawings, but that's the thing. They're toilets. A toilet's not a complicated device, which makes a recent DVids video surprising and confusing.
And I would disagree with this writer from Tacit Purpose. I think it was David Rosa, who does a fantastic job. I would disagree with that. I think toilets are incredibly complicated.
They're
like,
talking about
why?
portable toilets are simple. You need a hole.
Well, the toilet game in general, I mean, just coming out with that chemical, that juice that they put in there to cover up some of the smell.
The
Like
blue
there's a
juice.
lot of technology that went into the porta john and the regular toilet. I don't think it's simple at all.
Yeah, I tell you that's somebody who deserves maybe a Nobel Prize, because think about all of the iterations that had to occur before they finally found out this is the thing that will cut through this smell, and you had to just be around all those horrible smells for how long before you got to that conclusion.
There's a lot of inventions in the house that I would give up before I would give up an indoor toilet.
Oh, for
Yes,
sure. For
absolutely.
sure.
Mhm.
But so he's saying toilets are not that complicated, which makes this new video surprising. That's coming. The DVids is the military, like stock photo, whatever. Meet the tactical toilet system. Soldiers transport a tactical toilet system during Western Strike 22 at Orchard Combat Training Center, June 11, 2022. The caption reads, Western Strike 22 is an exportable combat training capabilities exercise led by Utah National Guard's 65th Arty Brigade that provides National Guard soldiers, blah, blah, blah. Yes, the tactical toilet
No,
system.
we can't skip that because it's important. It provides the National Guard soldiers immense training similar to Combat Training Center and aims to increase participating units' readiness and lethality. So this toilet is supposed to increase lethality.
We'll keep going. We'll find out
Okay.
why, I suspect.
Yes, tactical toilet system. We understand that toilets are serious business. There have almost been wars because of them, but what makes exactly this toilet tactical? Is it camouflaged? Can it hold extra magazines or rolls of toilet paper and an endless number of attachment on rails? Is it this something only for specialized units? What's going on here? It looks just like a porta shitter on a tow bed, but there
Mhm.
seems to be more here. So they looked more into it. It's just an average porta shitter, but it can fill up a hell of a lot quicker. And yeah, basically there is nothing special about it. It is a
That's
porta
exactly
shitter.
right. And then
Yeah.
Task and Purpose got an update afterwards, and they said after we posted this story, we heard back from someone with the 65th Field Artillery Brigade. It seems that the tactical toilet system isn't the most enjoyable tool. The tactical toilet system is more crowded than the average porta shitter and seems to fill up a hell of a lot quicker when they don't get it cleaned, and it'll make you gag because of how fast it becomes a literal pool of shit, said Sergeant William Smith told task and purpose. That said, Smith said there is a benefit to the system. The way it's emptied is actually smart. It's got a valve similar to a camping trailer, and you just hook it up to a hose, and it's easy to empty. Everyone hates when you use the dumpster that is attached to it. Like, to me, that just seems like instead of filling up at the bottom of a porta potty, it just puts it into that toilet, into that fucking dumpster. And now you just have a whole unit of shit like in there. That's disgusting. Because
that's kind of like how
many rollovers happen? What if that rolls over?
I guess it stays contained in that little container.
No, there's no shot. That thing is airtight. No shot.
Probably not.
I think the main benefit to having this crappy porta shitter on the trailer that you guys have to bring around with you in the field wherever you go as you're pretending to be on convoys and stuff is that it's a good threat for leaders to use against the shit bags of the unit. If you keep fucking up, you're in the vehicle right behind the porta shitter vehicle. If you keep fucking up, you're in that porta shitter while we're cruising to the next location.
Now, 23-year-old Kate walks into a bar and you've got the maintenance platoon for the tactical toilet system sitting there.
I
like a guy who knows how to fix things.
That's true. But no, I'm sorry. How could you get smaller than a normal porta potty? It said it's smaller than a normal one. How much smaller can you get?
One time and one time only, I rode on Dave Portnoy's private jet to Talladega. And I bought 6 different outfits to change into on the plane so I could do a private jet photo shoot. And I thought I'll just change in the bathroom of this thing. The worst private jet bathrooms. They're half the height of a regular. They're so tiny. It was like climbing inside like a tiny hole under under a set of stairs. It was the fucking worst. So I imagine it's kind of like this.
Yeah, private jets. People think it's all glamorous.
For being on the private jet.
It's not as cool sometimes, but it is cool to not have to worry about security. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, if you don't have to worry about security, you want to try our friends at Simply Safe because our home should be the safest place on earth. After every single family event, you want to make sure that your family is good to go. Simply Safe offers comprehensive protection, not only against intruders and burglars, but against expensive home hazards and flooding to fires. With 24/7 professional monitoring, Simply Safe's agents take action the moment a threat is detected, dispatching police or first responders in an emergency, even if you aren't home. Simply Safe uses proprietary video verification technology so that monitoring agents can visually confirm the threat in order to get a higher priority 911 dispatch. Monitoring plans are affordably priced at $1 a day with no long-term contact or hidden fees or contract. Because feeling safe at home shouldn't break the bank, make sure that you go to simplysafe.com. And if you're not like technology savvy and you have struggles with that, this thing couldn't be more easy. As long as you know how to hook something up to your Wi-Fi, you'll be able to do this, and it'll take 5 minutes. Customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at simplysafe.com/CBT. Go today and claim a free indoor security camera plus 20% off with interactive monitoring. Go to simplysafe.com/ZBT. Let's move on to round number 4. See what China and Russia is getting into.
As they say. China has sent a message of discontent against Russia as officials in Beijing wanted to avoid joint military displays that were too flashy. The news came as joint Russian-Chinese strategic bomber patrols were conducted at the same time as the Quad summit in Japan. Although China has yet to openly condemn Russia over the war in Ukraine, Beijing has called for a peaceful solution to the conflict. Tension has now become apparent between the two powers as analysts take to social media over the hesitation displayed by Beijing in escalating the displays circling the Japanese ships during the exercise. So it sounds to me like China's looking at Russia going, okay, tone it down. You're embarrassing us a little bit. You're getting a little extra.
And we've all had those friends that, like you go out, there's nothing worse than getting to a bar when one of your friends who already drinks more than you is like 4 or 5 deep, and you're not going to be able to catch up, and they're just going to be constantly loud and shit like that all the night. That's what Russia is.
Yes, that is what Russia is. Danil Bakhchov, a Russia-China expert, said on Twitter, the display of Russia-China's strategic bombers capable of carrying nukes was a counterpunch to Quad Summit in Japan, but a source knowledgeable with international relations hinted that Russia wanted to go further and simultaneously conduct surface operations. So Russia wanted to make a circus essentially around whatever Japan was doing. I feel like have all sorts of razzle dazzle and ships and planes and whatever. Japanese media confirmed the story by saying the Chinese side hesitated to conduct activities that were too flashy, such as circling around Japan with ships. Reports suggest Russian officials wanted to take the message of force further, doing aerial maneuvers They could have just gotten a simple message plane with a big dick drawing on it or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Russia's doing this all over the place. Like they're trying to fight fucking everybody. Like Russia needs to relax. Their army fucking stinks. Got basically wasted by a lot of Ukrainians in the first month. And now they were fucking with Lithuania. They said that they were going to try to go after Lithuania and get them back into the fold. They said they were going to go after Poland. They're trying to do different shit in Syria now. They're coming after the midterm elections from a report that was out today. Russia just needs to chill.
They are
Russia's
the drunk guy in the bar.
The big,
you know what I'm going to do?
Who keeps running their mouth, and then all of a sudden they got punched in the mouth and knocked on their ass by the Ukraine. So maybe they should take a beat and reassess and maybe keep their mouth shut for a little bit.
But that's not the Russian way. Beijing instructed its military to solely conduct aerial exercises, suggesting China is slowly shifting its friendship with Russia further apart. So we've
all been there.
We've all been there where you're like, your
one friend gets a little too problematic and you're like, bud, you need to relax. These things that you're posting on Facebook lately are a little unhinged.
Gonna have to take they can't see I unfollowed, but I have muted them. Is the thing. Although China has called for peace in Ukraine, Beijing has also condemned international economic sanctions on Russia imposed since the start of the war. Classic China goofing for you.
Classic China indeed. So we just wanted to keep you abreast of that situation. Russia, stop being so fancy. Like, just do a little bit of something. Like, we realize that you want to do a little sleight of hand because of all the war crimes that you're committing. Did you see that the New York Times had all of their photojournalists that were in Ukraine comprise this list of illegal munitions that were found in Ukraine that Russia launched? There was over 1,000 different types of banned munitions that they've found so far.
I've seen several videos of them sending napalm down on cities and I mean, that's like the most horrific. Yeah. Well, the U.S. would know.
Awful stuff. All right, let's move on to round number 5. What do we got here in Wales?
Oh boy. You can't reach out and touch somebody else's penis unless they specifically want you to. How many times do we have to say it?
I mean, it's been too many so far.
It's been too many. A police officer who touched his colleague's penis and shouted, "It's a small one," has been sacked.
Just absolutely. Listen, egregious to touch somebody's penis. To touch somebody's penis and shouting, "It's a small one." Like you're at a bass tournament in fucking Biloxi, Mississippi.
He had the penis by the gills too. Yeah, he had the penis up under.
It up by
Isn't
the
that what you call it?
Flap?
The little under the top.
Like the under foreskin area is called the gills of the dick.
Right. Absolutely. He was sacked following a 5-day misconduct hearing. It took them 5 days to discuss this incident.
I need to see that footage. What do you talk about for 5 days?
During the hearing, Reed admitted that at the police station, in front of colleagues, he had pulled down the officer's trouser zip, inserted his hand, and touched his penis before shouting, "It's a small one." He claimed
what took 5 days? Like if somebody says that's what happened, and the other person says, "I did not want this to happen," case closed.
Yeah,
also,
it's pretty cut and dry.
It's not that easy to pull someone's zipper down and get your so this guy had to have been at home practicing on a mannequin.
Oh yeah.
He claimed the incident was banter and that he shouldn't have been sacked. Reed argued it amounted to misconduct rather than
dry gels for pulling somebody's dick out.
Misconduct rather than gross misconduct. But it was ruled that Reed's behavior was gross misconduct. He will not be able to work as a police officer again, and he was placed in the national barred list. The victim, named as Officer X at the hearing, said he was felt left violated by Reed's actions. Definitely. He had only spoken to Reed occasionally before and had never worked with him directly. The incident happened about a month after Officer X started full-time in October last year. And basically everyone's saying this is definitely not acceptable, not a good thing. So this person didn't even know. It's not like they were buddies and they were like 2000s Marine Corps goofing. It was like, this guy was brand new, and all of a sudden somebody reaches into their pants and doinks their penis.
Not comfortable situation.
I don't know.
I'm not laughing. It's not funny. That's
right. And it is a difficult story because for the longest time, dicks were funny. Like, and doing little humor like this was funny. And now it's like not funny. You can't be doing it anymore.
Not funny. You cannot do it. And this is like circles back to like the story we had the other month. When there's a bunch of other people standing around, how does somebody not knock this motherfucker out like right away? Like,
Well, I think
He's
a lot of times people just don't want to get involved. They might recognize that something is wrong, but I think it takes a certain type of individual just to insert themselves if it's not happening to them.
And when you're at a police station, you would think somebody in
Right.
there would have like the intestinal fortitude to do something.
Yeah, if you're sitting there watching, you're kind of like looking around like, is somebody going to do something about this?
I
but
think
you also are
sometimes,
probably
too.
like, there's no way this is happening. Because I think
Exactly.
sometimes
I think
there's
people get this like, am I seeing that? And like,
what
did I
the
just
Yeah.
fuck is this? This is actually going on. Somebody's actually
Yeah.
grabbing somebody's dick and saying it's a small one. Like, just
Not okay.
just bizarre. Not okay. Don't do that.
Please
not
don't.
okay at all. All right, let's
No.
move on to save rounds and alibis. Nick, we'll start with you.
No,
Sorry.
we
All right, we'll move on to Kate.
Oh no, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. Sorry, guys. Yeah, no, I wanted to talk about something earlier in the show, just like what Cons was talking about with like the whole corporate, like America type thing. The one thing that always stuck out to me is that they always brought like these like really big motivational people to speak to us. But the reality is that like there's maybe 5%, maybe even 2% at a company that have that mentality, like that
Mhm.
killer instinct to like be great at something. And the rest are just coasters. And that's like that's a lot of corporate America is you have the top heavy people that drive the company, especially in sales. And then you have just, everyone else is just kind of there. Whereas like I'm at Barstool now, it's like everyone in production is extremely hungry, right? Like everyone takes so much pride in their work. They obsess over details and it's just different. And it's just always made me laugh. Like when you just brought these people up there and these people are just looking to get out. Like 4:59 on the clock, they're out the door and ready to roll. So I just thought it was funny. And I just wanted to comment there because
Yeah, and I think a lot of times you can like those types of motivational speeches or those types of meetings that you go to, they can make a short-term impact. Like if you need to have productivity go up for a short period of time,
Yeah.
like people are like, yeah, I'm going to be motivated. I'm going to do this. I'm going to own it. But you can't teach somebody to be like Big Cat. Like that's
right.
It's innate. Like that's
there's
who
certain
they
things that are just inherent.
Like the
You can't
message
teach.
they're getting, like the message they're trying to get is not to me the message that they need. They need to like incentivize and find out what motivates these people in this room, not look at them like they're all just going to be like incredible people at their
showing
desks.
somebody's Jocko's fucking watch at 4:15 isn't going to work for everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Because I also think, and see if you guys agree with this. I think you're either born a leader or you're not. You can teach managerial skills, but you can't teach leadership.
I think you sharpen those skills. I don't think anybody who's not a leader can become one, but I definitely think that the military does a great job at sharpening some of those.
Yes,
for
I
sure.
agree.
I am
all right,
not
let's
a leader.
move on to you, Catherine. What do you got?
I am down the Jersey Shore right now. Woo, woo.
Whoop, whoop.
Hold on, let me see if I can. How can I make my background go away? It doesn't matter. Nobody cares. Anyways, I'm at the shore. I'm in. We've been in the same house for 4 years now. This is the house where my son was conceived. TMI. Whatever. It's very weird. That's a weird thing to say. I've already said it. Anyway, the house is like a shed on stilts.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an original, you go to the beach now, you see all the fancy houses, and then you see the old holdout house that like has refused to sell and it's crusty and it's small.
The old man on up.
Yeah, that's what this house is. So we're next to like two enormous, beautiful bay homes. And then ours is the width of a trailer. There's only one bedroom. And then I'm in a loft upstairs with the baby. And the other night, our neighbors, they have a boathouse. Like we're on stilts. The whole house is over the water. Our neighbors have a boathouse just for their, like, there's a bar in it. There's like kayaks and shit. And it's bigger than our actual house, like just there for fun, store stuff house. It has a system of speakers in it. And they were blaring. It was on like Machine Gun Kelly radio or something. Where it was like, here's my feelings and I'm for like, I shit you not, like 8 hours straight, like blaring. And we had our windows open because the AC, and I put the baby to bed. This shit's still blaring, but no one's outside at all. Like it was like not even like they were out there to hear it. And we're sitting in the house and like our lamps are like, it was so fucking loud. So I became that lady the second the clock struck 10 and I had a couple pina coladas. I said, I'm going over there. I'm putting on my grandma hat. So I go over to the neighbor's house. I could hear they were having like a party inside and I'm ringing the ding dong, and it's a fancy ass house.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, this mom with an absolute Karen cut comes to the door and she's annoyed that I'm there. And this little brown curly haired dog runs out and takes the biggest piss ever right in the entryway of their, and it was these beautiful granite, like not granite, but like slate, enormous piss all over the slate, starts rolling in it, starts stepping in it. Now there's little pee puppy prints all over the fucking, it's running around me. I'm continuing to pet the pee dog. And I'm like, so I was going to tell you to turn the music down outside, but now I feel bad that your dog peed. And I know, and then, you know, me, I start explaining. I'm like, normally I wouldn't do this. I have a newborn over there. I don't. He's
doesn't matter. If your kid needs to sleep, a newborn is still their 14.
Yeah, it's out there 14. And I was like, I'm a little frazzled now. I feel bad about your dog. And I must have talked for like 5 minutes, and the lady just like stared at me. It was like, okay, we got it. And then it was like,
did they turn it down though?
Well, so then I come back around and I'm like, Dad, I did it. And my dad was like, oh, you didn't have to do that. I just saw the guy out here and told him. He was super nice about it. On the other side, he's like, I was like, son of a fucking bitch.
But also anyway, having the piss, kind of a good move too. Like you made us have a terrible day because of all this noisy music that you have. Now you got to clean up piss dog.
Yeah. But the whole time they didn't even realize it was on. So we were sitting here for hours, like suffering in this Machine Gun Kelly.
How did they not realize?
They were in their house the whole time. Nobody was outside on their deck or whatever.
What, did they have fucking Ace Ventura door? Like,
that's a great question. I don't know. But it was very, so anyway, I'm getting to that age now. I'm trying to think, do I have any other notes about the shore? I don't think so. Oh, we can see the boats go by, and my parents have binoculars, and they sit out there and they watch the Coast Guard pulling people over, and they get so fucking excited. They're like, oh, my mom's like, Joe, get out here. Joe, he got one. He like, whatever. And my dad's already yelling at boats to slow down. Like, this is his house. He's like, it's an awake zone. Slow down. Those are my, sorry, I'm just rambling. Those are my safe rounds.
No, it's good. Cons.
Okay. You guys. Also, wait.
Okay.
Just you guys, just behind the scenes, because I'm on vacation this week, they changed the Chaps and Cons and Nick all shifted the time. So it's best for me. Chaps is writing the sheet all week. You guys are just being a delight. So thank you.
Oh, whatever. Cons.
We mentioned Napalm. One of the best papers I ever wrote in college was from my law of war class. And it was crux of the paper was, is napalm legal? Spoiler, it is legal according to the laws of war. I can go into detail. I won't.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I wrote a whole long paper about why it's
publish it on the blog, you coward.
All right, fine. I will. All
right, send it to me. I'll put it up.
And then also, I've come across people, I would say in the last week or so, and ZBT has come up, and they have now said, like, oh, I'm going to give it a listen. People who hadn't listened before, they're like, oh, I'm going to check it out and give it a listen. So if you're one of those new people and you tuned in expecting to hear like really thoughtful discussion around military topics, and we did stories about a tactical toilet and a man having his penis touched without warranted, I'm sorry. That's who we are, and I won't apologize for who we are. I won't apologize for who we are. I'm just letting you know that's who we are. So that's it.
100% who we are. Kate just took an Instagram. We could hear it on the show too. Want to go, Kate?
It's me. It's me and you guys. Oh, look how meta this is.
Oh, that is meta. I don't really have a whole lot of stuff. I had a great day yesterday chilling with the fam. Let me just say, the Ninja Turtle game with Cardi, because so many of the new games now, like on the new Xbox, the new PlayStation, there's so many button combinations. There's like 8 fucking things that you got to do all kinds of shit. It's so refreshing to go to the old this Ninja Turtle game. There's like 4 buttons that you have to push, and you're just cruising through, going after Bebop and Rocksteady, and that's all you got to do is just kill these people and have a good time with your nunchucks or with your fucking sword or whatever.
Those were some of my favorite games growing up.
Oh, my little cousins, they're playing Mario Kart this week at another one of the beach houses here. Nice. And like all the older cousins are waiting in line. Like, can we get next? Can we play next? No, it's good stuff.
All right. Sorry. 2 more things. Number 1, as you can see, you're watching on YouTube. We're all wearing new merch. Go check it out. Store.barstoolsports.com. Go check out, get some CBT merch.
This comes in a baby blue, like a light blue, and this seafoam green. Everywhere I've been going down the shore, people have been asking me about this. It is super light. And I look
breezy,
fabulous.
I would say.
It's breezy. My tits are.
And I'm sorry, we can't exit this show without discussing what happened this weekend.
What happened?
To Uncle Joe.
Oh, falling off the bike.
Oh my God, he fell off his bicycle.
Sleepy Joe. it didn't even, this video, like so many people like going nuts about it. To me, it was the least surprising thing of all time. This is a 79-year-old man who can barely speak, and they're still letting him. Eventually, you have to say, Mr. President, no, you're not doing this.
So that's what I said.
I'm sorry. Once you're over the age of 65, I don't care if this is ageist. I'll say 57. No more clipping your little feeties into this pedals.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the clip was a bad
normal
move.
Pedals.
His legs look great, though. You have to admit. For 79
shocking.
years old, his lower body looks fit. He looks like he's in good shape. To be,
Mhm.
he is in good shape.
For
To be
79, for
years
sure.
old. Mentally, maybe not.
No.
Physically, he's in solid shape at 79.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Falling off a bike, that'll never not be funny. And I apologize, but now that's going to be part of his legacy forever is that video.
And the only time we would ever laugh at a 79-year-old who fell off their bike is if they're president of the United States.
Yeah, if it was
Otherwise,
another
it's
normal
mean.
79-year-old, I would say, oh, I feel bad. That's
like,
too
why
bad.
are you making fun of that person? They're just trying
Well,
to be in
I
shape.
still didn't like. I don't like seeing any old fall off a bike.
No, it doesn't matter if you're president.
No, it does. Yeah, if you're
And
president,
when you're
sorry,
president,
you're
you gotta
free
get
game.
treated like you're
Well, you know what's
45 no matter what.
crazy?
Right.
That Joe and Jill Biden. My parents are Joe and Jill, and they brought their bicycles down here. And just this morning, they were wearing matching outfits. They had matching helmets and matching jackets that said Grandma and Grandpa. And they took off on their bikes. And I was like, oh my God, they should take a note. They're the other Joe and
they
Jill
don't
are
have the
not doing
clip-in
good on their
pedals.
bikes.
I'm
No,
sure.
But
they
they're
would
way
Exactly.
younger than Joe. They're gonna be fine.
That's true.
Yeah.
It makes me
But
nervous, though. I think
this is the craziest thing because, as we know, like even at the lowest level, like a city's mayor, everything about politicians is so meticulous and so calculated, and their entire team always makes sure that nothing will ever put them in a bad light to get misconstrued in any way. So the fact that they allowed him to get on a bike, knowing full well at 79 years old, something like this could happen, somebody on his team needs to get fired to put him in this position.
I disagree. He's not able to do basically like they can't even put him in front of a podium without him.
That's true.
You're falling over and knowing where he's at. Like you gotta just. I think at this point, just let him be adorable old man. Like he's just America's grandpa, just like going out and hope somebody else is doing the job behind the scenes, but you just never know.
Absolutely.
Also, some crazy shit happened this weekend with former guest on this show, old Dan getting called. What's his name? Last name? Fucking, I just forgot it. The Navy SEAL guy with the iPad.
Dan Crenshaw?
Yeah, Crenshaw getting. Did you guys see that?
No.
What happened this weekend? So he was at this huge Texas, very, very conservative meeting, like Texas evangelical meeting, which is basically gotten rid of all Christian principles whatsoever. So they were at this meeting, and one of the guys, I think he's loosely a part of like Alex Jones teams, like in that ilk, like the crazy right wing, like very, very far right wing. And one of their journalists was going up to Crenshaw and was shouting at him like, I patch McCain, you're a rhino, you're a traitor, you don't want the red laws, you want this. And it's the same old trope that they always do. You're never going to be conservative enough, you're never going to be MAGA enough. Eventually the crocodiles are going to eat you too. And they're coming for Dan Crenshaw now. They come for him, they'll come for Mike Pence, they'll come from anybody. And the things that these folks are trying to do, legitimately insane. Like, have you seen some of the Texas GOP's stances of what they want to do?
Yeah,
they want to they said that homosexuality needs to be viewed as an abnormal lifestyle, and they want it to be labeled.
Yeah, they're calling it an abnormal lifestyle decision, which is we cannot accept that from anybody anymore. It's unacceptable. Yeah,
they want to
insane.
Completely get rid of interracial marriage. They want to have the ability for Texas to secede from the union and become its own different, like the fact that these people think that they have patriotism on lockdown and they want a provision in their mission statement to be able to secede from the United States. You're not a patriot. You're a fucking American Taliban, essentially. Like you want to take a whole swath of people and make them marginalized.
And they want women
it's insane.
Barefoot and in the kitchen. And that is me right now, but a little sneak peek, but only
I don't know.
because
I hear people like this, and I just always think, how could you possibly get to this point where you think these things? How could you be irrational? I guess they're not rational.
Lack of education, and then a couple of people at the top taking advantage of that.
Yeah.
Really
and
well.
they think that they're going to be able to fund a government. One of their things that they want to do, remove estate tax, inventory tax, business franchise tax, taxes on phone and internet service, ACA home tax, and all types of land taxes. We don't have income tax. Where the fuck are you going to get your money from? It's the state.
Right.
It's
ridiculous
baffling.
that they can think they can just upend, stuff that took hundreds of
they
years
might be
to
able
put into
to.
place. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it.
Anyway.
We'll be back here on Friday. Kate, have a great time on your vacation. We'll see everybody here then. It's on the retreat.